In the 1990s, in a small American town, there lived a quiet man named Vincent Hallway. Neighbors said he was strange, always silent, and his eyes carried a chilling emptiness. No one knew what horrors were hidden behind that silence. Vincent's childhood was marked by cruelty. He tortured animals and smiled at their pain. Darkness grew inside him. As he grew older, the cruelty twisted into something far worse. His fascination shifted from animals to humans, and soon his urges demanded a stage soaked in fear. Vincent's house stood on the edge of town. Old, broken, its windows sealed shut, curtains never moving. To outsiders, it was abandoned. To Vincent, it was a hunting ground. Beneath that house lay a basement, his true kingdom. The walls were damp concrete, hooks rusted in the ceiling, and a single bulb flickered, casting shadows that never left. To anyone who entered, the air felt wrong. Cold, heavy, suffocating. A place that whispered, "There is no return." The basement was not a room. It was a graveyard in waiting. Vincent chose victims the world wouldn't miss: drifters, the homeless, children who had run away. To them he offered warmth, food, or a place to rest. But once they stepped inside, the door closed. The smile vanished, and the nightmare began. The basement swallowed them, turning kindness into chains of terror. Vincent's killings were unlike others. He didn't kill right away. He played with fear. He recorded screams of past victims, replaying them to shatter the next one's hope. For Vincent, death was not the goal. Death was too merciful. His true obsession was watching people surrender to despair, their will drained before their final breath. For Vincent, death was not the goal. Death was too merciful. His true obsession was watching people surrender to despair, their will drained before their final breath. The town began to whisper. People vanished with no trace. Parents warned children to stay close. Rumors spread. "A monster walks among us." Fear infected the streets. Police searched, but found nothing. Vincent burned evidence, buried remains, erased trails. He was careful, patient, and cruelly intelligent. The shadow stayed invisible, but one night, a scream broke through the silence. A neighbor, sleepless, heard it drifting up from Vincent's basement. It was raw, desperate, unlike anything human. The neighbor called police. Flashlights cut through the night as officers forced open the old door. The smell hit them first, iron, rot, and fear woven into the walls. Downstairs, the flickering bulb cast hell across the basement. Blood painted the walls, but not in splatters. Words were written, jagged and cruel, in dripping red letters. On the wall, the message read, "You are too late." The officers froze, hearts pounding, realizing they had stepped into the lair of something inhuman. In the center sat a steel chair, chains still rattling, fresh blood dripping to the floor. The air felt alive with suffering, like screams still echoed within the concrete. But Vincent was gone. Only his black notebook remained, open on a table. The last entry chilled their bones. "The monster lives in the shadows, and I am the shadow." From that night, Vincent Hallway was never seen again. Some claim he still roams small towns, leaving broken bodies behind. The police cannot prove it, but the fear lingers. The house was never the same after that night. The walls seemed to pulse, as if the house itself had absorbed the darkness, becoming part of the horror it housed. The police found no trace of Vincent. No fingerprints, no clues, just the remnants of the hell he'd created. It was as if he had vanished into the shadows. But whispers continued. People said Vincent was still out there, lurking in the dark corners of the world, waiting for the right moment to strike again. Some believed Vincent never left. They claimed his shadow still haunted the streets, his presence lingering in every dark alley, every forgotten house. Years passed, but the fear remained. Vincent had planted a seed of terror that took root in the town, growing even after his disappearance. One evening, A couple moved into the abandoned house. They didn't know the history, the darkness that had soaked into the walls. As they settled in, they noticed the same coldness that had once gripped the house. It was as if the house remembered, and it was waiting. Late one night, they heard a sound, a soft rustling, like something dragging across the floor. The noise echoed through the empty halls. The couple rushed to investigate. As they walked down the hallway, the air grew colder, and a feeling of dread filled the space. They reached the basement door, which was cracked open. A faint light flickered from within. They froze, the temperature dropping sharply. Stepping inside, the stench of decay filled their nostrils. The basement was the same, but something had changed. The shadows seemed to shift. They turned to leave, but the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The air grew thick, as if something was breathing behind them. Suddenly, a shadow appeared in the corner of the room. It was tall, gaunt, and unmistakable. Vincent's figure, half hidden in darkness, stood watching them. The couple's screams echoed through the empty house, but no one came. The house had become a prison once again, and Vincent had returned. The following morning, neighbors reported hearing strange noises, but when they arrived, the house was silent, as though nothing had happened. Yeah, the couple was never seen again. The house remained empty, and the rumors grew. Vincent's shadow was still out there, hunting. Some say Vincent was more than just a man. He had become a creature of the dark, an entity that fed on fear. His presence lingered, feeding on the town's terror. Years passed, but Vincent's legend grew. The house was abandoned again, but its reputation had already spread. It was known as the House of Shadows. No one dared enter the house after that. They said that if you listened closely, you could still hear the faint echoes of his whispers coming from the dark. And so, the legend of Vincent Hallway lived on, a tale of terror that no one could escape. His shadow remained, always waiting for the next victim.